Why YouTube?
Because I didn't want to work for the man anymore. I
Fair
was
enough.
uh I was I'd just taken a job. Well, I've been in a job for a couple of years, sales job. And I said to myself many years before, I said, I'm never going back into sales. It's just soul destroying stuff. Even if you're doing well, it's still soul destroying stuff. And I joined this like new company starting up. There was only like 6 people when I joined the company. And then when I left 2 years later, there was 30, 40, 50. So there was a lot more, and it really developed. And I was like part of that development. I was brought in to do stuff, and I did it, and I did it really well. So much so that I advanced, and they put me in the corporate department. So now I was speaking to the big corporations, and that was doing really well. And because of that, they were getting more people into the different teams. And every time I did well, I got a new obstacle from the company. It's like every time because I was just hitting my goals and hitting my goals, and they weren't used to people doing that. The people that they had before, they just weren't hitting their targets at all. And they were just kind of like going along with it. Then I came in and I was just like bang, hitting targets, like, whoa. This, and I wasn't even, I was remote. I was like in the office while the other people were like in the heart of where the business was. So they were physically going to see these companies as well, whereas I was just on the phone. Yeah, I was hitting my targets and they weren't. So it made the company think, like, let's get rid of these remote, get rid of these people, get more remote people in. And every time I hit my targets, they would, change them and up them and just made it harder and harder and harder. The business that you bring in, you're not allowed to hold on to it. You got to give it away. You've just got to rely on new business. And I just got to the point, I was doing well. I was doing really well. It was the best paid job I'd had in my life. But it got to the point where it's just like, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable for me in work. And every time I do well, instead of rewarding you for it, they kind of punish you for it. Or you're hitting your targets, you're doing well. Instead of encouraging you to keep doing that, what we're going to do is we're going to make your target bigger. We're going to lower the bonus incentive. I was just like, this is madness. I've come and I've done an incredible job for you, and you're trying to new to me. You're trying to demoralize me. And I remember very specifically, I think the first month I didn't hit my target, which was about, let's just say, a year of hitting the target. The first month I didn't hit my target, and it wasn't by huge amounts. But the first month I didn't hit my target, I got a warning from the company. It's like my manager's like, okay, she didn't hit your target this month. I was like, yeah, first time. But, I've got all these sort of things lined up, and yeah. And then he gave us like, you'll have to give you a warning. That continues, then we'll have to look. Just like, these people have got no idea how to manage people. They've got no clue whatsoever. They're so now in a kind of mindset, a corporate mindset, a business mindset. And not business in, yeah, sure, you got to make money in business, but it's just like, that was not the play to make. And so they just kind of wore me down. So I was thinking, I'm working my ass off. I'm doing great for them because of, stuff that I've done. They've brought on way more employees, which has put more pressure on us, of course, to hit targets and succeed. Mm-hmm. And then I was just like, I hit, like that. I did the best month I'd ever done. Best month. And then I was like, right, I'm off. I'm going to leave them like that. I'm going to hit my best month ever. I'm going to do the best month ever. And then I'm going to hand my notice in. And I'll be like, there you go. Goodbye. Smashed every record your company's ever had. Right? Left on the biggest month anyone had ever had, ever. Boom, notice. And my plan was I was a watcher of YouTube. Most people are. I was a gamer. Oh my god, I'm a gamer. I was a gamer. Gaming in progress, people. Gaming in progress. Well, it's not. That's a lie, but it will be later. And I used to watch John Byrne. I used to watch Total Biscuit because I was a big World of Warcraft guy, and he was a big World of Warcraft content creator. And I'm a Yorkshireman. We're no nonsense up here, you know. We like what we're saying. We say what we bloody well like here in Yorkshire. And I just like John Byrne's no nonsense attitude. I just like TB's no nonsense attitude. I thought, I'm a gobshite. I'm a gobshite. I've always got something to say. Maybe I should give this a try. Maybe YouTube. I could work for myself. I could be my own boss. I could do something which I liked because it's getting to the age 10 years ago, 11 years ago, where I thought if I don't do what I want to do, I'm going to be working in office for the rest of my life, 9 to 5, miserable, because that's not what I really wanted to do. So I thought, you just had your best month. I'd got a little nest. I got about £10,000 savings in the bank. Not a huge amount, but I thought I'm going to bet on myself that I might be able to do something here. Because I was very naive and just thought, you make a video, you put it up, you go to bed, you wake up, there's 30,000 views on it. That's YouTube. So I remember quitting the company. I took a month to chill. Then in April 2012, I set up my YouTube account. 2 days later, put out my first video. Absolute hot garbage, of course. And went to bed, came back the next day, 36 views. I was like, oh shit. Okay, this is going to be a little bit harder than I thought it was. And I think even when I started, it's only about 3 months in. I was like, I just stopped for a week. So I was just like, oh man, have I made a massive mistake here? This is hard work. I mean, it's difficult to get an audience. How do you get an audience? But then I just sort of said to myself, no, come on, mate. Just try. Let's see where we are. So I spent the year doing it. And in that year, I went through my life, my 10 grand life savings. And I was done. I was sort of like, no money. YouTube weren't paying because I just wasn't making anything. And my friend, he said to me, dude, leave your apartment because you can't afford the apartment. Leave the apartment. I sold all my trinkets to keep myself going. And come live with me. You can live in my attic. You don't have to pay rent at the moment. Get yourself just working, get some money, and then, you can pay us back later. I'll charge you a nominal rate, all in, inclusive of bills, and we'll stick to that. So I said, okay. So I was able to, when I came here, I was able to stream because he had great internet, and I didn't have good internet in my last apartment. It'd take me like 8 hours to upload a 10-minute video. Garbage. I certainly couldn't stream. So he had great internet here, so I could start streaming. So I could combine streaming and videos. And then, things just, suddenly I had enough money to just pay my rent, put some food on my table. And because I'm loving what I'm doing, just keep on going. And it just sort of developed and just got a little bit better and a little bit better. And like a couple of years down the line, I was caught up with all the rent and everything. And then I was like, one day I was just like, God, I've actually got a little bit of disposable income this month. I paid my rent, got my food and all that. So I was like, I could be, so I bought some comics because I'd lost my comic collection years before. I was like, I'll just get some comics again. And it just kind of developed from there. It's like I'm an overnight what do they say? An overnight success that took 10 years.
I mean, at least you had to work for it. You didn't just suddenly become successful and then you became a dick right after it, like a lot of people do.
Maybe. I mean, I've gone through trials and tribulations with YouTube, and yeah, I have, you know, gone through the process. It's this April, sorry, it's 11 years on YouTube, longest job I've ever had. You know, longest sustained work I've ever had. So, you know, I've had ups, I've had downs, I've had successes, I've had failures. I've gone through the whole process. I've had an ego. I've had that ego stripped. And it's, I think it's kind of good to have gone through these different things, because, you know, ultimately, if you don't have an audience, you don't have anything. And it's your audience, and it's the people who give up their time and energy to come watch you that they're a most important thing. So that's the thing that you focus on.
Now that you're pretty stable on YouTube, what do you find to be the biggest challenge? Is it the audience retention, or is it fighting YouTube's nebulous, ever-changing rules?
Well, I mean, I've gone through many things in terms of the rules. In this current span of YouTube, it's actually a lot more relaxed than it was, let's say, back in 2017. There was a period of YouTube, 2016, 2017. It was nearly impossible to get a video monetized. You couldn't swear, you couldn't say this, you couldn't say that. There were so many strict, stringent rules on what you couldn't do, never mind couldn't do. That it was very tough to kind of get through that. Now it's a little bit more relaxed. To me, it's keeping my interest, you know. I got to do stuff that I'm interested in doing, while at the same time understanding that you have an audience that wants certain types of content, and making sure that they're also fed on that side as well. So, you know, I've moved from specifically dealing with World of Warcraft for 6.5 years of my YouTube, to being able to expand into broader gaming stuff, news, streams, to moving into more pop culture stuff, television stuff, movie stuff. And these are things which my audience have requested. So and now I'm in a place where I'm putting out videos and I'm doing gaming streams again, quite heavily. So I'm sort of given a balance of the people that like the gaming streams and they like the streaming interaction, versus the people that come for the videos and what's going on with pop culture, what's going on with our beloved franchises, etc. But I got to make sure that everyone gets fed. But I'm here nearly 11 years later, and I'm still as motivated, as enthusiastic as ever. Yes, you are beholden to the algorithm, and if you decide to take just a week or two off, my God, you know, it just decimates your channel in terms of that. I mean, right now, I can't buy a sub on my channel right now because I'm streaming heavily, doing heavy video game streams, which are 8+ hours at times. And that the algorithm hates that, but it loves the videos. So when I put a video out, then I'll get some subs. But when I do the heavy stream, so I'm trying to counterbalance it. But I just got to make sure that I'm having fun. And I am. And I'm having fun making the videos, and I'm having fun doing the streams, and I'm having fun doing the podcasts with other people and doing stuff on other channels as well. And just kind of like paying it forward sometimes with other content creators. And yeah, I certainly come from the mentality that I'm in a very, you know, blessed position. I'm in a very amazing position that some people cut the left nut off for. And I think you got to appreciate that. You have to understand that. And you have to appreciate that. Sure, you can get ratty. Sure, you can get irritable at times. Sure, you can get a little bit down in dumps, demotivated. What can I do for this? What can I do for that? But ultimately, I wake up every day excited for what I'm going to do. And that's, you can't put a price on that. You really can't.
Getting burnt out is one of the reasons why I work for Clownfish now as a contributor, is because I've spent 20 plus years in the entertainment industry covering things, going to set visits, talking to actors, doing all that. It just got so tiresome because after 2016, all the content suddenly started to focus on this one specific audience, and everything was about that. And that's how I found your channel, is because I had to interview the actor who played Mouse in Batwoman.
Yes.
And this was before he actually appeared in the series. So this was after only like the first episode happened. So I was like, I need to know more about Batwoman, but I tried to sit through the first episode and I'm like, this is terrible. Like, let's see what other people are saying, because it can't just be me. And yours was the first video I found talking about the whole it'll be perfect when it fits a woman BS and all that. And I was like, oh, wow, this guy's pretty great. Okay, I'll sub to him. So discovering you was just by accident, because honestly, YouTube has a terrible way of advertising creators, no matter how long they've been on the platform. I've been on the platform since 2006, and they don't recommend my stuff. Even when I interviewed the cast of Stranger Things on set, they wouldn't advertise that video. So yeah, it was just pure accident that I found your channel, and then I found a bunch of YouTubers similar to yourself, and I was like, oh well, I'll just sub to them. It's a new genre of people that aren't just making angry content just because it's a thing, not trying to replicate the Angry Video Game Nerd or Doug Walker.
Sure.
It's just honest reactions to things that I myself have found that are just terrible about the entertainment industry, and it's fun to watch other people be as aggravated with it as I am.
Yeah, I mean, I love these franchises. Legitimately, you know, this isn't fake nerd stuff. This is stuff I've lived all my life. When I was, you know, when I was working as a 16-year-old food court provider, or, you know, a 30-year-old, you know, sales exec, corporate sales executive, whatever. It was to the point where, you know, when I went home, I gamed. When I went home, I read books. When I went home, I read comics. When I had free time, I'd go to the cinema, you know, watch TV, all different types of genre. It was everything to me. You know, I've been a big Batman fan since I was, since 14 years old. So, you know, from really I can remember, because I can remember being an absolute grommet watching the 60s TV shows. They were great. And, you know, so these are things which I legitimately love. So when you've seen the erosion of them, and the clear erosion of them, this isn't, oh, they're cashing in on anger. They're trying to rile people up. No, this is me pissed off with what you've done, you know, and I'll put out a video about Batwoman, and if somebody, you know, if the audience is, oh, this is terrible, you nasty man, I'll be like, I don't care. This is how I feel about it, you know? And unfortunately, it's infected virtually every franchise that we know and love now, and they are literally feeding us content. They are providing us on a silver platter content to talk about people, and audiences are growing, and audiences are growing rapidly within the people who I work with and do stuff with, friends with, etc. And that's because I think more people are waking up, and more people are being like, yeah, I thought it was just me. That's the most common email. That's the most common comment that I ever see on my channel, is I just thought it was me that felt like this. And because mainstream media, whether it be news or whether it be video game outlets, have gone so political and anti-customer, hate the word consumer. Consumer is a corporate term to dehumanize people and just turn them into pigs. So anti-customer that people are being driven to alternative media. And alternative media, whether it be YouTube, Rumble, whatever, YouTube, of course, is the biggest platform, and that's where people are going, and they're looking around. Is it just me? And then they're finding your Nerdrotics or your Geeks and Gamers or your Heel versus Babyfaces. And it's Critical Drinkers, etc. You know, Maulers. Great to see. and it's great to see more and more people coming in. And what's kind of funny about the whole situation is the amount of hate we'll get from the corporations or the gaming media or the mainstream media, calling us all names under the sun. And yet here we are, and we are actually the epitome of a classic fandom. People from all corners of the world, all walks of life, all colors, both genders, only two, all sexuality. They are here in the fandom, and they're all saying, they're all like, make our fandoms fun again. So we're probably the most diverse, organically diverse ists and phobes that's ever existed on the internet.
I honestly do wish things were different. Like I said, when I saw the change happen, it used to be when I'd be on set with other journos, we'd all be asking kind of similar questions. We'd be asking what the actor's experience was like, or what the series was going to be like, or detailed questions. And then right at like 2017, I was on the set of Altered Carbon, and all of a sudden all the journalists were asking about intersectionality. And I was like, what does this have to do with the sci-fi series about being in different bodies? Why are we worried about hyperfeminism and all this stuff and equality? It was like, can we just have a good series? Do you not see all the shit they built, all these amazing sets, and you're worried about if this character is going to be naked the same amount of time the female character is going to be naked? What does this have to do with anything?
It doesn't.
And I sit there and I bite my tongue because a BuzzFeed writer snapped my head off during a roundtable because I didn't think that Kylo Ren was an allegory for rape culture. I said, no, he's just a shit character. Like, you just don't understand because you're a male. Like,
how's BuzzFeed stock doing right now?
It's
not so good. It's not so good. Oh no. 30 days of that. Bye.
Like, I'm just enjoying the fact that Netflix flew me out to Vancouver, put me up in a nice hotel, and is feeding me. I'm just glad to be here.
I would class it as a badge of honor to have been snapped at by a BuzzFeed blogger. I think is the most polite term.
I'm just a Southern redneck. I don't know no better. I'm just gonna say things. It's because we don't care.
Admittedly, I only saw 2 of the sequel movies because the second one I saw made me never want to see a Star Wars film ever again at the cinema, or just a film in general. Didn't get that vibe from Kylo. I got more of a kiddie tantrum more than a rape culture guy, but okay.
I don't get it. I don't have the patience or the time or the mental capacity to just dissect a character to find.
Well, this is why people have drifted away from gaming media. The notion that Kylo Ren is an allegory for rape culture is in itself absolutely ludicrous. So you are dealing with ludicrous people who are trying to make connections which don't work. Now, most people, I give credit to. Most people are actually, when I say relatively intelligent, they've lived a life. They've got something up here. And their brain says to them, that don't make sense. That doesn't make sense. And when it doesn't make sense to a regular person, they can't relate to what you're saying. They zone out. They want to listen to somebody who they can relate to. And so if you've got these pathetic BuzzFeed people, and BuzzFeed is a joke. We all know BuzzFeed's a joke. When you have these pathetic people trying to force a narrative that doesn't exist, doesn't make sense, they're gone. They're gone. I used to watch IGN. I used to watch G4. I used to read Eurogamer and all of these, I used to read Kotaku and Polygon from time to time. And they just drive people away. I've done a video, I don't know when this is coming out, but I've released a video today about Phoebe Waller-Bridge is going to be writing a Tomb Raider TV series for Amazon. It's already done because of she's such an intersectional, and it made me go back and watch a video that I made 9 years ago when I did a video review of the Tomb Raider reboot from 2013. And I listened to it because I wanted to kind of hear how I was speaking at that time. I knew that I liked the game, but I wanted to see what points I had made. It's 9 years, it's a long time. And it's so, and I afterwards I watched it. After I'd watched it, I was like, bloody hell, that's a video game review. There was nothing about politics, intersectionality, feminism, toxic masculinity. There's nothing. It was me talking about the video game and how it played and how what the characters were like and the story was like and I was just like, that is gone now. That's virtually gone. You read any review for any game now, whether it's Forspoken, oh my goodness, why wasn't she more victimized? Why didn't do it's just like, how about what's the gameplay like? How about what's the dialogue like? How are the characters? How are the sub characters? How does it? Oh, that's a byproduct of that. And so that drives people to other channels, maybe Angry Joe's, maybe Jim Sterling's. But maybe once upon a time now, I'm not so sure.
Maybe about 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah. But it would drive people to alternative media. And that's what made me watch people like Angry Joe, John Jones, Jeremy John, sorry, all those different types of people when it came to TV, movies, video games, because the mainstream had completely lost, and they're all dead now. Kotaku's dead. Kotaku has less readers than G4 had viewers on their return, and that was none. Yep. Nobody was watching them. Same with Polygon. Polygon's virtually gone. BuzzFeed's gone. These are skeletons. These are corpses. These are zombies. These are shuffling around, but they're dead. They're shuffling. They're just waiting for somebody to put that final bullet in the brain, and just end it. But they are now just zombies of the industry, and people are going to other sources and other places because people just want to relate to another person. They don't want to hear your wonderful, brilliant, incredible political take on how Pong is an allegory for Trump. Don't want to hear that absolute foolishness that comes out of people's mouths. They want a regular person telling them in a regular manner what they think. What's this game like? Gameplay's good. This is that. Graphically, da-da-da. That's what they want to hear. So, thank you, mainstream media. You've been a tremendous help for us.
And if I want video game news, I'll instantly go to YouTube now. I'll find some. I'll either, if it's old stuff, I'll watch Larry Bundy. If it's newer stuff, I'll watch DJ Slope. I'm not going to go to IGN. I think in the past maybe 15 years, I've quoted IGN as one source on one story I've ever written out of 20,000 articles I've written because I can't be bothered.
Well, I mean,
I don't want to read their garbage to get the news when I can find it somewhere else.
I remember when the Resident Evil 2 remake came out and IGN put out their review, and it was Damien who did it, and he gave like a chastising part for the second playthrough. He's like, it's just like the first playthrough. Da, da, da. I was like, no, it's not. And he had to admit that he didn't actually play it. Didn't play it. Made a review, but then the absolute like hilarity of it was, I didn't play it, so we're gonna give them an extra half a point on the review score. What does that mean? That means nothing. People want to know what the other side of the playthrough was like to connect the two characters together. And you know, if you start, I tend to start off as Leon, and then I play Claire secondly. And Claire had different puzzles. The puzzles were different. The things were in a different place. You know, they had different aspects of sometimes a little bit of a different area to go to every so often. And that just to me epitomized games journalism. And when Game Over Greg was at IGN, I just remember them being on Twitter at the time, and I just remember them bragging that every Friday night they'd go to the pub or, you know, go to a bar, whatever, and they would like play games to give away the free shit that all the companies had sent them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, how can you be impartial? You can't be impartial. You're getting gratuities from these companies. How on earth am I going to believe what you say when they're literally lining your pockets with goods and whatnot? And, you know, the mask was slipping then. And now, you know, Greg's just chill, man. I'll say whatever you want me to say. Do whatever you want me to do. Best friend to the gaming world, because he's not there to be honest. He's just there to tell people what they want to, what the corporate, you know, the companies, the publishers, developers, what they want you to hear. So people don't, again, people can see that insincerity. People can see that bullshit. And that's not, I remember buying the official PlayStation magazine and reading the official PlayStation magazine. And there'd be some scathing reviews, you know, sometimes of certain games. And if they thought it was an average game, you get an average score. If they thought it was an okay game, you get an okay score. So, and you know, you won't get anywhere close to that now.
Access media is a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
I've gotten boxes of swag. When I worked for a horror website, I was told that I could not be too critical of the director of Green Inferno because he was a friend of the site. Okay, what does this mean? We had no problem when the first Halloween came out and we ripped into Rob Zombie. We had no problem then. He was a friend of the site. What changed in this past 10 years that I can't be honest that his movie is shit?
Access chain.
Yep. Netflix took me off of their access for a while because of the whole cuties thing. I publicly said, I don't know how you can put this movie out there and put this kind of art with it and think it's okay. I really don't want anything to do with you. And the same day, my access portal was gone, completely gone. And I haven't been on a set visit since then.
That's why I don't want to be beholden to these people. That's why I'm quite happy to do what I do and just be able to give an opinion. And you know, I know they would never in a month of Sunday invite somebody like myself or whatnot to a premiere of a Marvel movie or something because of what we say and all that kind of stuff. But keeps us honest, you know.
We had one for Avatar. This last Avatar movie, I was told that this week. It was like we had a premiere ticket.
Yeah, I think Clownfish is very good though. I don't. When I watch a lot of Clownfish videos. You know, I think excellent. Neon, geeky, they're brilliant. And
but they're very critical, so we didn't think.
Well, but they aren't unfair. It's not unfair. Yeah, they can be critical about certain things, but they're not critical about other things. And when I watch a Clownfish video, I believe I'm going to hear from Neon what he legitimately, honestly thinks. Or if Geeky Sparkles comes on, I don't think I'm going to hear some bullshit from Geeky about Avatar. If she likes Avatar, she likes Avatar. She doesn't like Avatar, she doesn't like Avatar. I believe you because I think they're, and this is, I think, a very important word, and it's a word which has been discussed recently. They're authentic. And authenticity, I think Robert Meyer Burnett said recently, authenticity is the currency going forward. That's going to be the currency going forward. And I think that's what the viewing audience want to see. They want to see authentic people. And your IGNs and your BuzzFeeds and your Polygons and your these aren't authentic people. They're broken people half the time, but they are the furthest thing from authenticity that you can get. So yeah, so you know, people like your Clownfish, your Critical Drinker, Nerdrotics, Geeks and Gamers, etc., Mauler, whether they're hypercritical on stuff or not, I believe that they are coming from a legitimate, authentic position, whether I agree with that opinion or disagree. And that was the same with Angry Joe. Plenty of stuff I never would agree with Angry Joe on in his assessments. But I always believed when he did his reviews, he was coming from an authentic place. It's gone a little bit nuts now, but
it happens.
Yeah.
You may eventually have to go through that too. You may hit this weird wall where you're just saying like, fuck all this. It happens. It's easy to get burnt out on this industry. I semi-retired for about 6 years until I came back and I decided to do something completely different. Before that, it was just writing articles every day, 8, 10, 20 articles a day. And then it was like, if I come back, I want to do something else. I want to do field work. Like, okay, well, go cover this theme park's Halloween thing, or here we have this last minute thing to go to Atlanta and for a CBS movie. It was like, okay, I'll do it, whatever. And I was like, okay, I'm getting back into it. And then 2016, 2017 happened. Everything became political. I was like, I hate this now.
Yeah,
I don't want to do this anymore. And now
I keep joking that I hate this timeline, but that's just because I do.
And now I just sequester myself in the studio with all this bullshit back here and just write articles for Clownfish, write articles for Fanbolt and some other sites, and I'm happy as long as I never have to espouse a single political view. I'm perfectly happy.
Yes, I you know, I've been sucked in plenty, but it's more the absurdity of everything that surrounded it, and the absurdity of what people now say to you. And you're just thinking 10 years ago, you would be laughed at, and rightfully so. And you should be today, because it's just nuts. So now I try not to get myself involved in that nonsense, because I can't be bothered. I hate it. I think politics is for, I'll leave that one, you know, just in case. But you know, I think it's for let's just say not so much the regular man.
Yeah.
And I just want to be focused on what I love, you know, what I enjoy: toys, video games, TV shows, heroes, comics, movies. These are things that I love. You know, that's why I've got a toy show. I have a pop culture show with Gary from Nerdrotic. I have a, you know, FNT co-host where we deal with all kinds of different things, because I want to deal with the different facets of what I like, what I love. You know, the toy shows have always a very positive show, because we're actually, for a change, being allowed to talk about stuff that we like, which is the collecting and the nerddom of it, which is what kind of binds us together. So, yeah, I need to balance the shittery that I have to deal with some positivity, some Witcher streams, some, you know, some toy streams. I have to balance it, otherwise you just go crazy.
What would your advice be to people that are trying to start a YouTube channel in 2023?
Don't try, do. And without trying to quote Yoda, you know, I get, and I you know, I don't want to sound too hard here, but I get a lot of people email me as I'm thinking about starting a YouTube channel. What should I talk about? What should I do? You've lost. You don't want to start a YouTube channel. You know, if you want to start a YouTube channel, you know what you want to do. You like the idea of it, maybe, but you're not committed. You don't. No, I'm not going to tell you what to do. If you want to start a YouTube channel, you've got to have an idea, and you've got to bring that idea. So let's just say I want to talk about pop culture and TV and film like you're doing. I want to do that. Okay, great. make sure you got something to say. You know, make sure that you got something to say. Make sure you got something about you, a personality, something. But don't just come to the table and be like, I watched the, what was it called on Disney? Don't be that.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never get anywhere. You've got to really want to do this. People kind of see, because this isn't, when I say hard work, this isn't manual labor. I'm not getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning to break rocks with a sledgehammer until 6 at night and then get a bowl of gruel and go to bed. No, they see people on podcasts laughing, happy, just talking about shit. And like, yes, I can do that. It's real easy. Can you? But can you, though? You know, do you have something to bring to the table? Do you have some knowledge to bring to the table? Do you have something different? Or do you just think that because it seems like just chit chat, it's going to be easy to do? It's actually pretty hard. It's very, very hard to get somebody interested in watching your stuff. And that's the thing which is going to define whether or not you're going to have a channel going forward. Because if no one's watching you, you haven't got a channel. So you got to make sure that you have something. You got to make sure that you have a point, a hook. But more importantly, you've got to have a personality. You've got to know your stuff, and you've got to be able to speak. Because if you don't, nobody's gonna follow you.
It's the same with writing too. Covering toys is not as easy as it seems, because you have to hit a certain word quota. And I have to, if I just say, hey, there's a new whatever, I can't even remember the last toy. Oh, Charlie Brown. There's a Charlie Brown toy coming out. How can you turn that into a 300+ word article? You have to have something. You have to have some imagination. You have to have some knowledge of Charles Schultz or Peanuts to be able to expand it. Otherwise, I'm not going to get paid if I don't hit this quota. So it's the same with YouTube. You have to know what you're talking about. The other thing I'd like to add to yours, even if you went full force into YouTube, a lot of people are still going to need a regular job to do it.
Sure.
I have a regular job. I have a career that's nowhere connected to this. I work construction. And
there you go. You are smashing rocks at 7 o'clock.
I've been in construction since '95, and I'm not gonna quit that to do this full time, because it's not viable. I don't have a strong enough drive like you do to be able to do it as a job. I do it because I love the entertainment industry, but I don't love it enough where I want to eat, breathe, and sleep it. So the fact that you can do that and other people can do it is amazing, because there's no way I could.
No, I get that. I fully understand that. There's a certain mindset. If you want to do this like full time, go into it. There's a certain mindset and a certain discipline that you got to have. Mm-hmm. And you know, like I said, I'm nearly 11 years now. You have got to be motivated. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm motivated because of my audience. I'm motivated because of, you know, just the kind of love that you get from people as well. When you're putting out a video, and then when you do a stream, when you're reading the comments, when you're interacting, and you just see the kind of that people are giving up their time and effort and energy to come watch you, come support you. And not just come watch and come support, but a lot of the time just being like, thank you. It's like, I don't say thanks, thank you, for coming in. But it's just, that's just, absolutely incredible. And so it motivates you, because you got this great group of people. You got this great support. And you want to make sure that they got something. You want to make sure that they do have some content. And these are regular people who are relating to you as a regular person. I live in a shoebox in Yorkshire, and I don't see myself really changing too much out of that. And people, they got some tough lives. They work hard a lot of the time. They don't bring in, the kind of money that they'd really like to have. Their entertainment's in disarray right now. And they just really need somebody, some channel, whether it be Drinker, whether it be Mauler, whether it be Clownfish, whether it be like a hot toy show. They just need to flick that on and get that escapism, which they're so desperately lacking right now. And so if you can provide that for them, for whether it be for a 10-minute video, whether it be for a 2-hour hot toy stream or an 8-hour Witcher stream, it's my pleasure, it's my privilege to do that to that audience. So yeah, that kicks you, that gets you going, man.